All right. Now I don't know what I'm going to say. Hold on. Let me just cut all that nonsense out. I just kind of lost the train of thought I was going to start with. Okay. All right, The Acolyte, episode 3, the one we've all been waiting for. It's come and gone. You guys have probably seen the review videos all over the place. You've probably seen the review aggregates that are all over the place on the internet. As of King Z and I filming our review of episode 3 of The Acolyte on Disney Plus, it has slipped down to 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critic reviews have slipped from the low 90s down to the low 80s at the time of this recording. Media is freaking out everywhere about what's going on with this show. But King Z and I aren't here for that. We're here for the rest. Oh boy, you weren't kidding when you said it don't get no better earlier on the text, my friend. So let's just do, before we even get going, let's just start off just as a recap. I think we both gave this show its fair shake through episode 1 and 2. I thought you in particular were very level-headed about where we were just going to, call it how we see it in terms of quality, where it's strong, where it's not. Some of the sets were good. So the music, I particularly thought the scoring was pretty good. Like, we found some technical things we liked, then we just dumped all over the story and half of the performances, I would say. So I think we were fair if we were only grading the show on like those 2 episodes. So like if it just ended, right? See, like it was pretty average as far as the Disney Star Wars shows go. I know you haven't seen all of them. You've missed a couple, and I think you've missed the 2 worst ones in particular, Boba Fett and Kenobi. After this week, dude, I'm willing to dump this show all the way down into the trash heap with Kenobi. It's that bad. It is that bad. I've got a page and a half of notes. We're probably just going to touch on a couple of the things and do our regular discussion. But let me just get your 30-word take or whatever. Dude, episode 3, longest runtime, most amount of nothing happening, in my opinion. What do you say to that?
I don't see the point of this show anymore.
Dude, it's not even the halfway point yet, man. He's already blackpilled on the show. It only took 3 episodes. That tells you everything you need to know, man. Dude, I mean, let's like if we were you and let's say you and I are co-pilot on like a 787 or whatever. We're 65,000 feet up, or we're just cruising, right? So we're just giving, like, we look out the window and see this show from almost suborbital, right? They build this as a revenge tale. They built this like Kill Bill. They build this as a sisters regaining a relationship frozen thing. Fine. They build this as a murder mystery. Okay. Like, these are things that track, right? Like, these are normal, doable writing conventions. Sure, whatever. And then, as predicted by several sites, several sources over like the last year and a half anyway, once again, I would say a good half or maybe even 75% of the rumors about this show turned out to be true. This show in 3 episodes has foregone all of the stuff I just mentioned and turned this into a complete reframing of what these creators envisioned Star Wars to be going forward. We've renamed the Force. Laughably hilarious when they got to that part. It's like you called it not the Force, but then proceeded to describe it in exactly the same way the Force works. So you've created nothing. Your show is vaporware garbage. It just is, right? So they threw out all their conventions and then literally did the whole, you guys are crazy. It's never been this, but no, as it turns out, the Force is literally female. Like, they actually did they said the thing. It's a meme. Like, they said the thing. This is it. Like, this is how they're going to be able to get away with making their next batch of garbage shows. They're going to just shunt everything you knew that you enjoyed since 1977 about the Force, about the Skywalker legacy, about how this universe works within itself. Threw it all away, and now you have magic space lesbians doing thread stuff. May the thread be with you, by the way. You think that's going to be some shit people are saying in 2050? May the thread be with you. We're going to ditch May the 4th as a holiday for the IP, and we're going to find something else. This is pathetic. Pathetic. Give me some thoughts on this show, and we'll talk about some of the actual goings on.
So, going into the show, we had high hopes, I would say, because they actually had a chance to make something completely original, something we've never seen before. They had a chance to, wow us, to try to make something new, try to explain, the origins of the Force. Maybe it did have a different name based on, older religions that were on different planets. 100% okay. The problem is that we're getting more of the same. And I mean, some of the sites that are on Facebook that are Star Wars fan sites, I've been trying to defend this show. And one of the ones I saw today just really set the tone for the whole thing. First off, we have twins, and they kept pointing out, oh, we had twins here and we have twins there. Exactly. We've done the twin thing. Do something new. Number two, they had like scenes from like Clone Wars and then scenes from this and like how it kind of correlated. And they're like, it's poetry. And I'm like, no, it's lazy writing, because all you did was bite what you already done, because the fans are going to be like, oh, look at it. And no. Be original. That's the problem. They don't know how to be original. They're trying to tie this all into like the Ahsoka series with the witches that were banished off into like another galaxy that you need space whales to get to.
Space whales, dude.
Yep, space whales, because they don't need to breathe fire in space, which them trying to defend fire in space. Oh, it's happened before. Yes, but it never burned.
Right.
It
exploded.
Came up, and then it disappeared.
Dude, I have a whole big segment planned about fire for this episode, so don't you mind that. We're getting there. We'll get there. You know what I mean? Hold on. We'll get into that.
I got a whole bunch of notes, because one of the things we brought up last week, you talked about the dialogue, and so I did research. I did research on what is considered good dialogue and bad dialogue. I went with 5 different authors who are New York Times bestsellers, who's also wrote screenplays, and they broke down good dialogue and bad dialogue. They took it from different movies and like what was considered like good monologues, bad monologues. Yeah. And I'm going to have to say that this one falls on all the points he pointed out as bad dialogue. One, you have on the point, on the nose, on the point, a direction. The dialogue never defends and pulls, tries to hide. It's never nuanced. Like they brought up Back to the Future as a sign of good dialogue when he was there and they were hinting at what they were going to do at the lake. They never actually said, hey, we're going to go to the lake, we're going to have fun, we're going to, sleep in the same sleeping bag, anything like that. They played around it. Mm-hmm. And
I remember that scene. That scene's right here, dude. I know exactly. We would go up to the lake, roll out some sleeping bags in the truck, look up at the stars.
And then when you had people who was angry, I mean, they cut to the trial of the dwarf in A Game of the Thrones, and then his monologue at the end where he's like, "I didn't kill Joffrey, but I wish I did. I wish I killed all of you people. I'm the one who's the reason why you guys are still here in the defense of
Blackwater Bay."
Yeah, Blackwater Bay, and like that whole dialogue is good monologuing. The monologue she has about the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Oh my!
They tried so hard.
Did you just have to find something that rhymed? Is that it?
This show is like what it's like if you got like a little niece or a nephew, or you got your own kid and he's in like kindergarten or the first grade, and he tried so hard to draw that picture of your dog or your car or you or whatever, and all you can do is smile and be proud of the effort. Like that's all you can do. That's this show, dude. Everything you just said is 100% true. I've recently watched, I think I mentioned this in our last takedown of this show. I've recently rewatched most of Game of Thrones. I'm done. I'm not going to watch season 8. Like, I'm good. So that scene with Tyrion giving the monologue at his trial in his own defense is like, it's front burner in my mind still. So I have a recent frame of reference to good television writing present and available to contrast versus this mess. Like, You want to talk about being on the nose? That this show has no subtlety, no context. Everybody says exactly what they mean with every line of dialogue they utter. They constantly repeat dialogue that explains what you, the viewer, just saw. It's like they have to double down and be like, we just did this thing. Look, we just did this thing. There's a part in this episode here near the end where the twins crib the scene from the end of Force Awakens, where there's each one of them on a side of a broken bridge. On the nose much, there's a divide between them. Okay, we get it. But then the one of them blames the other one and says, "What did you do?" And then the other twin says, "What did you do?" And then the first twin literally goes for a third round and says, "What did you do?" It's not an error in editing. It's not like somebody forgot to clip something out. Like, no, it's a back and forth. It's a 1-2-1. You know what I mean? And all they do is say the same shit. Now, dude, I'm not here to dump on any actor's performance unless it's super bad. But these kids are typical Star Wars bad actors. They're not good. I'm sorry. If your parents are watching, like, get back in school. HVAC is very promising. There's good money in it. The acting's not for you, or maybe it's a direction thing. I don't know, because the show is a total calamity in direction and pacing, and one thing moving to the other. Case in point example of that. What was the point of whichever twin it was going over to the Wookiee to see him working on the bike? They exchange no dialogue. He gives her no useful information to use later. He doesn't give her the means that she would end up needing to escape her room later in the episode. You know what part I'm talking about? Like, he's just there and he mumbles something Chewie style. But unlike every other iteration of a Wookiee anywhere ever in Star Wars, there's nobody there talking back to him in English, so we know what the fuck he said. Not one. There's not one instance of dialogue in this show which says subtitled Sri Wookiee or whatever the name of the language is. That's it.
Yeah.
Stupid. It's pointlessly stupid, dude. But let's do this real quick. The recap of the episode in like 30 seconds. For those of you guys, don't watch this. Don't give them the hate views. Go to YouTube, watch all your favorite creators that are just going to dunk on this show. It's not worth it. Like, unless you have a family member that worked on it and you're just trying to support them that way, cool. But otherwise, get together with your friends, sail the high seas, watch this somewhere else. You know what I mean? Don't give them the free view. They don't need it. But here's the 30-second recap of the show. It's the big flashback episode. Finally, we knew it was coming.
Yep.
Right.
The flashback. So, we were due it because they want to cast the whole thing in mystery.
Yep. But again, but like I said in the intro, they've already sold out the mystery. The only thing they have left is to take the mask off the hidden teacher. And after this episode, I'm 95% sure I know who it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's we'll get to that. No, it's nobody you've seen before. Well, no. You've seen them.
Darth Bane?
No, you've seen them in this show. It's nobody connected from canon. Not a chance. Not a chance. But anyway, so it's the flashback episode. We got the two girls. They're younger now. It's like 10 years in the past when the incident happened. They're 10 and still have the same haircut and dress identically.
That actually makes more sense. That I will defend, because a lot of people dress twins the same way. A lot of people do that.
Which is fine in real life, but we're telling a story through a visual medium here. Have one of them wear a different color shirt, for fuck's sake. It's impossible to keep up with this bullshit, especially considering they have the same haircut. Which, again, yeah, it's cute when little girls have the same outfit and haircut in real life. This is a TV show. We need visual distinguishers to tell things apart. And also, you're telling me that in 10 years, these chicks didn't change their hairstyle, either one of them? Have any of you met women in real life? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not how it works. Just not how it works. But anyway, we get shades of these two as kids. Osha's the one that wants to run off and see the world, do some nonsense, but they actually paint a picture of May as a little bit of a psychopath early on, with using some force powers to maybe kill a butterfly or not. A little on the nose, but it was there. We fast forward, we realize that they're about to come up against their coven's ascension ceremony. They're coming of age. They're going to be fully inducted into the coven's a ritual ceremony thing. I know you're going to have some opinions on that later. I'm going to let you run with that when we get there. Further division between the sisters comes when the Jedi show up, like the Gestapo SS at the end of Anne Frank, where literally the dialogue is the Jedi have spliced through the door and are coming. Like the Jedi are now child protective services, and they're just kicking in doors to crack houses and coming to take your kids. Stupid.
As they should.
So, well, just saying, but that's neither here nor there. The Coven resists but doesn't resist. We have several logical fallacies that come up in this sequence where Master Trinity says, we have the right to take your kids to test them, but you have the right to give us permission. So it's like, which right supersedes which one? This is all very stupid. I've never known the Jedi to forcibly take kids. I'm not sure where that ever entered canon. If we remember through episode 1, Qui-Gon ends up on Naboo or on Tatooine and meets Anakin, who's a slave, and has to win him because he can't just take him. So I don't get it.
Maybe
all the talk.
Once again, we're in a new era. I can defend that because we're in a new era that it might have changed after the events of this one. This was that event changing where we need to change our policy.
Nope, not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to run with 50 years of canon of accepting Star Wars as a simple tale of good versus evil. The Jedi, even though they were blinded in their power and couldn't quell the Sith in time, are never the bad guys in my book. I think that's stupid. I hate that. I want that stricken. The only time I've ever seen the Jedi portrayed as a fascist force is with these assholes writing them. And I don't like it. And I'm never. So, I mean, I appreciate the devil's, dude, I got you. I appreciate you doing the devil's advocate thing, but it's never going to work for me. And the 21% rating on Rotten Tomatoes shows you exactly what fandom thinks of that play. That's what this is today.
That's bot bombing. They're bot bombing it.
Is it though? Or is it that nobody cares enough to run the 5-star bot bombs anymore for these assholes? Which is it?
It's AI generated reviews.
Russian bots. Russian bot brigade.
Russian bots.
I've read some of these reviews. They're highly articulate. There's several on the nose, like bullet point for bullet point criticisms. Are there 1-star reviews that are fake? Probably. Are there 5-star reviews that are fake? Probably.
More than likely.
You can't get away from you can't get away from the rating as it is. It just is. Because even the critic review has fallen 10 points since Sunday. Even the critic ones. So the Jedi interrupt the ceremony. They say, hey, we're going to test the girls. May doesn't want to do it. The Psycho doesn't want to do it. She wants to stay and join and keep the family unit intact. It was okay. There's some family dynamics going on with May and the two mothers. They were very not on the nose. They were very on the nose with that. And again, I don't care. Like you can have whatever relationship you want in space. The problem here with that, we'll talk about later, is the origin of the twins, which undermines the cornerstone of Star Wars lore.
Yep. As I read another article, as the people who try to defend this series, is that it makes Anakin even that more special.
No, it's the exact opposite of that. It's when you had a once in universe immaculate conception allegory, you can't then retcon that and saying, oh, somebody else did it first 200 years ago and actually made 2 Force immaculate conceptions, not just the one. So no, it doesn't make it more special. Anytime you add more to a unique idea, you water it down. Unavoidable. That's just how that is. That's why every time something new comes out that's like a mega hit, like when Twilight came out or when Harry Potter came out, you get all the copycat. We've talked about this before in horror. Like you get a sleeper hit horror movie like Scream or something, and then boom, you get the next tier things that happen. Waters it down. Never as good as the idea it was in the first place. Sequels within a franchise work the same way for the most part.
Yeah.
So that's the Anakin thing. I'll touch on that later. A little bit of a rant while you're doing the Coven rant. But the Jedi do their little test. The girls are told to lie by their family, which I get. A lot of people were criticizing that about how it's dishonest. I'm like, I'd tell my kid to lie to the government so he doesn't get taken away. Like that's what I would do. So I'm not really here to bust on the family decision there. But the one kid makes the decision that she wants to go. The other kid makes the decision that not only do I want to stay, I will kill you if you go.
Yep.
You get that, everybody? The sympathetic antagonist on this show, they did a terrible job setting her up as that in the first 2 episodes anyway. But there was an opportunity to do that, and they whiffed on it big. Says, I will kill my twin sister if you try to go. Right? She locks her in her room and then tries to burn her alive.
And that's where they're going to try to change it. Because as you saw, supposedly, because you never actually saw her set the fire. Now they're going to say that the Jedi did it all to
Yeah.
steal the children.
Exactly.
So
Nope.
the Jedi are now the people driving the white van with free candy written on the side of it.
Right. And setting fires, literally, and burning people. Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a Salem witch trial story would have been cool in this universe if it was a group of Sith or something that were hunting down this coven as being traitors to the Sith faith or whichever and wanting to eliminate them. Like that I could buy. Sith coming through
That
and
or
wiping you
like
out.
the
You're
planet
never going to convince
rebelled
me.
against them. The citizens of the
Right.
planet
Right.
rebelled and looked for them.
Right. Right. And dude, and I'm down for that story. That's like real world shit. Like there's nobody that can sit here and deny that happened. There's nobody that can sit here and deny that the human rights atrocities happen every day across the world current day. That's a story worth telling. You can't tell me the 4 Jedi showed up and did it. You can't. See the previous rant on good guys and bad guys. It just doesn't work. Star Wars is not Game of Thrones. It's not supposed to be Game of Thrones.
And they're not even trying to go with Game of Thrones. They're trying
I just
to
mean in terms of being morally gray.
Yeah. And like even my wife was like, this was so heavily handed, like message wise. The good guys are now considered bad if they don't agree with you. If they don't let you do what you feel, how you believe you should live your life, even though it's outside the laws, and they even try to say with their planets outside the laws, and the Reach of the Republic was all known galaxy. Is
there's so much logically stupid there. Go ahead, keep going, man.
They try to. They're trying to paint, do as you feel, and the thing is that, and they even tried to do it. The one girl who wanted to be different. She wanted to be a Jedi. She wanted to go do good. She wanted to see the galaxy. They made her feel as the outcast. Her mother tried to still, do the motherly thing, which I give her, that was actually a really good scene between them, where she's like, I really want to be a Jedi. And she cried because she knows she was going to leave. And, that's how a child would react. But if it's really what she wants, then you should help her do that. And what they're trying to do is another very heavily handed, based on today. If a kid at 8 tells you I want to be something, then all of a sudden you got to do medical procedures to make that happen.
Let's talk about that.
That's exactly what they're trying to do, because she wants to be a Jedi and move away from her family. They're supposed to just let her do that. But also, you also get the abusive family part of it with the other one. Like, no, you can't do that. Who I believe she never said a word that wasn't yelling, which is also a sign of bad dialogue. Every scene of her was of her of yelling. She never had like a soft moment.
That scene is exactly they told on themselves with that scene politically, like in real life. This is a show written by progressive leftists who actually believe that. How old do you think these kid actors are? 10, 12 tops?
It's that.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's say they're between 8 and 10.
Okay, let's be generous here on Winter Wolf's Den today and say they're 12. On what effing planet is anybody but a raging leftist down with the idea that a 12-year-old is mentally competent to make life-altering decisions? Where? Only on the idiotic left is that a thing. Disney has the history of trying to groom kids built and cooked into their programming, and they told on themselves with this scene. They double told on themselves because they even have the mom, which was weird because there's 2 of them and one of them carried and the other one created through the Force or something. Maybe she did the Palpatine thing. I don't know. No. Never actually going to say that again. I didn't sign up for that stupid app on Instagram. I'm not going to say it here either. Not going to happen. Mama one, because actually they called her Mama and the other one Mother Corell or whatever her
Mother Corell.
Right? So Mama, like Coven leader Mama, space lesbian captain, whatever her name is, Anasea, I think her name was. Whichever. She actually says to her like the normal parent thing, like you think you want this thing now, but as you grow, what you want will be different. And if you're gone, like this choice is a one-way street. There is no returning. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, Wait a minute, you had a character say that, so you acknowledge that these kind of things can be a thing in real life, and then you also crammed in the BS of a 10-year-old is capable of making the choice. The reason, and people, I've seen people counter this point, right? They say, "Oh well, that's what Shmi had to do for Anakin. She asked him if he wanted to go." I'm like, he was a slave. He was a slave going nowhere. You know what I mean? Like this chick had it good where she was.
Yeah.
Weird that there were the only two kids there. So it kind of calls into question what this coven was going to do in about 10 more years if they've only force created two new people in the coven. They're the only two kids that are there. Like, this coven dies in a generation. That's just how that works, because I'm sure it's not a commonplace thing they can do of force sculpting kids, because the other parent said to her, "What do we do if the Jedi find out how you did it?" Directly hinting that they went through some dark shit to get this done. You know, because that was her big defense earlier in the episode, was the galaxy is not a place for women like us with the power we have. Some people consider it dark. Well, then, yeah, maybe because it is, because the only other time it's been done is 100 years from now to make Vader. Just saying. So yeah, lots of logical stupidities with the politics in there. But let's just rip right through the end, and then we'll go down some notes, and you know, we'll call this one at a regular length. The end of the episode is May sets the coven's base, which is built into a mountain. It's all stone. The whole thing is stone. The little book she lights on fire, which would have been more effective had it been set up earlier in an earlier episode, like had Osha retained half of it and taken it with her, and she still had it as an adult. We could have come back to that and seen, oh, this is the half, you know, May took half, burned it, tried to kill me. She burns Dr. Evil's base down to the ground with a book. Like, it's made out of plutonium or some shit, and it just spread force fire everywhere. I don't know. It would make no sense to me.
Yeah, just
the
like
coven dies.
You saw like as she was escaping, you saw like stuff exploding, and then like the power core in the middle exploded. I'm like, how is this all happening?
The base went nuclear.
And this is what they're going to link back to the Jedi, because they've already hinted at it in episode 2 when Tomlin, first of his name, takes the poison willingly.
I'm getting to that. Dude, hold on. I got a whole separate section for Tom, and I'll get to him. So May nukes the base. There's chaos. The coven dies. We see no adults after this except Saul. The coven is ostensibly dead, right? The two girls find their way to the bridge that I said. They argue the same dialogue back and forth. May's bridge collapses and she just drops into nothing. And it looked like it was a pretty decent drop. We'll leave it at that. If I don't see a body, you're not dead, so I'm not going to knock him for that. There's writing reasons you get out of falling off of some shit. But Saul shows up at the last second, and instead of just, you know, force grabbing Osha or the both of them, because, you know, he was there, he, you know, wrist grabs Osha, pulls her to safety. Blah, 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 recovery, blah, blah, blah.
Which he caught him by the force earlier in episode 1.
Yeah, right, as an adult, right? He grabs her off the cliff. She wakes up. Your parents are gone. Everybody's gone. But, you know, you can be with me. Like, you can be my Padawan. I'll teach you. We'll learn the ways, blah, 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 together. And then the show ends with one of the twins looking at the Bunta tree. We don't know which twin it is because we've seen them exist in vision form in the first 2 episodes. So it could be a flashback, it could be a dream.
I believe that was
young May.
That was May after the fall.
I tend to agree, but she's pristine and clean, no damage, no injuries, no burns, no nothing.
Well, I mean, we just saw in Damsel them get tossed down a hole like 4 times and take no fall damage. So
down the crystal mountainside. You mean the bridge,
the initial throw in.
Yeah. It's 8 stories down, didn't break anything. Yeah. That's apparently the Force is female. You can do that kind of thing. But so that's the episode in a nutshell. I'll give them credit, like we were talking about the parent scene earlier being effective, I guess, and an emotional delivery.
I think the leader of the Covenant, she really tried. Like she's tried. Okay. She worked well with what she was given. Yep. I think the kids' banter when they were trying to teach him I think that was a pretty good. Like, you know, that's how kids would be. Like, they're not going to pay attention. They're going to fight with each other.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, situationally, that was good, but the dialogue itself for them was
the dialogue was stupid. I was talking about just the way the kids interacted with each other.
Yeah, we're punching each other behind the adult.
Yeah. I mean, we've all had brothers. We've all had sisters. That's what you do. So I
It's
think
bunny,
that
dude.
would
It's bunny ears. You know what I'm saying? It's that.
like,
It's the same shit.
yeah, it's not 100% bad. There are good things that they're doing in it, and I think that's from the director standpoint. That you have some scenes that are pretty good. Yeah, I mean, even Trinity comes off very cardboard. Most of them come off very cardboard. And
this
the
is
one
what
thing
I was just gonna say. Yeah.
The other thing that made
I'm gonna catch
sense
that.
that they did, like I want to give the things that made sense first before I get into more negative. So there's too much negative in the world, and we have to point out some positive. The attack on the Jedis when they came in, like they ciphered locked through, and they come in and they're like, no, we'll do peace. And but they're talking, and then all of a sudden you see Tomlin, first of his name, get his eyes blacked out, and he falls to his knees. And like, if you want your Padawan back, then you're going to leave, which makes sense of why they would choose him, because he was a Padawan. He's the weakest of them because he hasn't learned how to put those mental blocks in that would prevent something like that from happening.
I didn't hate
that. That made sense.
Optically, it looks bad that they picked on the one white guy on the show, but whatever. It made sense story-wise.
But it made stories because he was the Padawan at the time. He was the lowest ranking of all of them.
I got a point for that later. We talk about I'm going to throw in one good thing also, since you just mentioned like something that did make sense. Because Master Trinity acts like every other Jedi in this world right now, I did like that Saul gets emotional and hugs the kid at the end, where he's like, you're going to come with me now. Like, I'm going to train you. And like, he actually hugs her and she's crying and he's all like, it's going to be okay. Grabbing her, tapping the back of her head. Like, okay, fine. Finally, fucking somebody with some emotions. Like you all don't have to be Qui-Gon Jinn, like, no, like one of you needs to get drunk and have a sense of humor. One of you needs to get a little uppity Anakin style, but maybe not murdering younglings. Like this human emotions on a range. Let's employ them, use them. You're not all cardboard cutouts from like Kung Fu. That's a drawback to this world as it is right
now. All right, so where do we go from here?
Well, I got plenty. We can talk about. Let's talk about Tommen first of his name. So this dude shows up. He's a Padawan. I went back and checked the subtitles. Right, he's a Padawan at the point of time that they show up, where he gets the mind taken over. Right. Yeah. Fast forward this incident 10 years later, they introduce him as Master Torben
when he's 18 doing years.
However many years it was.
No, they said it at the beginning of the episode that it was 18 years before the before.
Okay, so he did other shit before ending up at the meditation place.
Yes.
So he actually he had an opportunity to earn the rank then.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was kind of stupid that was like, but I don't put this past them though. I don't trust them to not check that along the way and make that consistent, because we have those other kind of inconsistencies as they come up in how they tell the story, where people do stupid shit,
even making master in 18 years is still kind of fast track. I mean, even Anakin never truly made the rank of master.
We do not confer upon you the rank. Yeah, dude, of course. Dude, because it's stupid. And I don't think they know that. But there's lots of other stuff you can dunk on, just in this one episode. I'm just going to skim my list real quick, because I think we covered a lot of these already. Talking about like the girls being too young to choose what they want to do, and inconsistencies with Indara saying stupid things like, the Jedi have the right to take and test children, but you have the right to give us permission. But then like within that same conversation, when they arrive, Indara's like, oh, we were just in the neighborhood. We thought this planet was uninhabited. Oh, wait, also, we're here for your kids. Well, like, if you were in the neighborhood and you thought the planet was uninhabited, how did you know to come find these people to check to see if they had kids? You didn't know they had them from orbit. You had to touch down, set up a base, study them for a couple of days, spy on them, violate the Prime Directive if you have something like it, and then break into their compound to check this shit out. Like, no, the galaxy's a big place. I don't believe the Jedi would behave like that. I just don't. I think that's patently stupid, and it really does destroy the fabric of what makes Star Wars good, is that that there are good guys and there are bad guys.
Once again, you're going to the bad cop scenario.
Yep. You've talked about that.
And that's the whole thing, was like, if the socialism in it, where it's like the many has power, then the one can't. And like the one is the Jedi. They believe they only have the one person, but the Jedi always were about we're stronger together. That's why they always try to bring in the people. Now, I can understand a little bit of them trying to get the kids to train, but like because they start, young with younglings. Like they test all the kids that they're able with the Force, and then they take them kind of like a schooling type thing. So for them, they don't ever make the choice. If you tested positive for the Force, you were taken out of society, because if you're not trained properly, you're a threat to those around you. It was never a choice. If you tested positive, you went for the safety not only of yourself to learn how to wield your power correctly, but to wield your power in the people around you and keeping them safe as well. So in this, where they're making a choice, it shouldn't have been a choice. It was like, you are a danger to yourself and these others because you can wield the Force. So you have to come with us. And this,
I hate that model of thinking for Star Wars. I really do.
That's how they always did the Jedi.
Gritty. Yeah, but did they?
Because at least for the Knights of the Old Republic, it was always that way.
I mean, I have to go back and reread the canon on that, because I really don't ever remember it being Child Protective Services just comes and takes.
It's not Child Protective Services.
It's Jedi Protective Services for kids.
Yeah, it's more. How would you put
I get it?
It's kind of like Etzman.
But all those kids chose. All those kids chose to go to Xavier's school. All of them, because they had nowhere else to go.
But they were also still cataloged, and he still kept track of all of them.
No doubt. But they made the choice to go, and I think that's how. I mean, we can agree to disagree on that point, because there's so much more in the show that sucks. Like
I'm not talking about the show in general. I'm just talking about the philosophy of the Jedi.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. We can agree to disagree which of those is good or not good, or how it would work and why it should work. I'm saying, for the purposes of this review, for this we can have that discussion in a separate video. That's cool. Like, I'm down for that. But this show, with all the crap that just gets piled on, like this chick had a poison made from the tree on her world to poison a guy, that the show writers want us to believe. Like, we can only pick one angle to go, I guess. The show writers want us to believe that the Jedi either directly did the massacring of this coven, or they were interrupting like some kind of like Jim Jones drinking the Kool-Aid event. And that was the pile of witch bodies that we saw on the way out, where we saw Mama's body down, like when she was leaving with Saul after the fire. Because they didn't look like they were hacked up. They weren't burned. There were no blaster marks. They weren't maimed. There were no missing limbs.
There was no like obvious lightsaber marks.
Right. I'm saying shit collapsed on them, because I think it's straightforward. I think May set the fire. The base exploded for whatever reason. She killed her family, and here we are. But so you're telling me that this dude drank poison because they went down there on a routine mission to test you kids? You all died, and I have to drink poison 18 years later? Fuck off, show.
And he was in a meditation state because he felt bad about what he did.
For that's what they're hinting at. Right.
Like they did something there that they shouldn't have done, and it never set well with him. And
see, if you and me wrote it, we would have played that up in episode 2 with a different kind of scene, where she's talking smack to him when he's in the meditation. She's breaking into his mind to letting him know, hey, I'm still here. All that ill shit you did, it's good. Like, now it's time to pay for what you did. Like, we would have laid that on thick. We would have had him interact back with her and not just been like, oh, okay, cool. Plug.
Yeah. And they never really talked about what haunted him either. Like, what did they do? Like, it could have been a series of things. It could have been them killing the Covenant and try to steal them, which I doubt that would happen, because that would go against either the Jedi code. 2, it could be that they saw everyone dead. They only rescued one of the 2, and they never went back to search for May.
Fine. But that's not going to be what it is.
Yeah, it's going to be the latter. It's going to be the earlier, not the latter.
Right. Because you got to remember the inciting it, or not the inciting incident, but like the setup to this show is that May has the kill list of people that she thinks have wronged her.
Which are those 4 Jedi?
Those 4 Jedi, right? So the only way this could go would be if the Jedi did something so distasteful that she had to get revenge on the 4 of them, and then by extension her sister, because she threatened to kill her in the first place. Like, that's what I mean. There's so many stupid elements of backtracking.
Well, May's the one who
character that it doesn't work.
To kill her. May's the one who made the threat to kill her, and May's the assassin trying to kill the Jedi.
Right. I mean, May making the threat to Osha, I mean.
Yeah, Osha believes that May killed her whole family and tried to kill her, and then died herself in her rage.
Right.
So, and I believe May believes that the Jedi killed her family and stole her sister.
See, but then how does this all not stop the minute these two idiots see each other on the street when May's driving off in the speeder? Oh shit, you're alive? Let me bail right now and then get back in contact with you later. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? This is going to be 4 more. How many? 5 more? 6? How many episodes are in this garbage? 8
5 more.
Total?
5 more.
5 more, right? They're not going to have that come together, like talk out some shit, kind of normal people solution to some stuff. The Wookiee's still going to die somehow. Saul will still die somehow, probably sacrificing himself for Osha because she didn't complete her training and yada yada. But then she'll be super Jedi just like Sabine was, despite having been cut off for the Force for 6 years. Yada, all that good
and then
stuff.
stabbed with a lightsaber, and so be the only person to ever be hit by a lightsaber and live.
Saying. So I mean, there's all that, but I mean, the only other thing this show, I think that like we've trashed enough of this show. I think I got one more thing I want to ask you, the question of the episode. Who do you think is the teacher under the mask? Because that's the only mysterious element they have left. That's the only thing I care about. I just want to see it so I can check it off a list of crap I wanted to know about this show, and then we're never gonna watch the show or talk about it again.
I don't even care who's under the mask because it has no impact. This is even the funny part is that someone even said that they messed up the timeline because like this is supposed to take 100 years before the rise of the Empire, which doesn't happen to Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. So that was, but it also says that it was 100 years of peace. But they've talked about that the Naboo War, the Trade Federation War happened before the Empire. So how do you have 100 years of peace, but also 100 years before the rise of the Empire?
I don't need to. They didn't care enough to put all that stuff up on the timeline. I don't know enough about that era to call them out on that. I think you're right, man. I don't care. It's a curiosity in the most distant, removed way for me. I think it's her mom. I think it's been said before early that's like an early obvious guess, but I think after seeing those adult characters in action, I think it's mom. I think that she saw the body on the ground, but she wasn't dead, and that the reason May fights the way she fights is because she's not a full Sith. They're just using whatever Star Wars Force magic Sith crap that they use. Like she'll have taught her defend. You know what I mean? She'll have taught her to defend herself that way to get revenge on the people that ruined her family. So I can't explain the red lightsaber. Like maybe we'll find out that she's a direct descendant from the witches of Dathomir, and they had access to lightsabers 1,000 years ago. I don't know, but then that's lost, and that's how it comes to
that,
be.
or it could be Darth Bane, which is the first Sith that was supposed to be found in the Jedi universe.
I don't think they have the stones to do that. I mean, they had the stones to ruin everything else, so maybe they do, but I don't know where Bane. Like I've only read Rule of Two once. I don't know where that exists on the timeline. That may be way too far ahead of the High Republic for it to be him. I'm not sure. But but I've heard all the outside shots. Him, Plagueis, who else? Maul, you said at the beginning of the show.
Plagueis?
No, me neither. I don't think so either.
Because I believe Plagueis was actually Palpatine. I think he was actually Darth Plagueis.
Oh, you think it was a story he told about himself? You think?
Yeah,
not his actual teacher. Not possible.
To entice Anakin.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for this show, I don't think they'd know enough to tie it to somebody else like that. I think it's the easiest thing in the world is to have it just be the mom revealed in the second to last episode, or just in time for
it'll be revealed in the next episode. How fast they reveal stuff. They don't want no mystery. They want to just drag you by the nose.
Dude, you're right. I mean, why have any kind of build up or follow through or payoff? Dude, you're right.
No,
I mean I think that means that the next 3 episodes in particular are going to be complete snoozes. You know, I won't care when the Wookiee dies because dude, what do you know about the Wookiee? That he wears clothes unlike every other Wookiee in history.
And it broke George Lucas's rule of no Wookiee Jedi.
Right. Yeah, dude, there's so much to hate on this show now, and I mean we can get out of here because I think we've covered what we're going to cover for this episode. But my final comment would be, you know, the numbers don't typically lie. You can't get review bombed down to 21%. people don't like this show, it's not because anybody cares what flag you fly. It's not because anybody who cares about the color of your skin.
It's a
King Z
bad
and I just spent
show.
45 minutes talking about things that don't make sense, about things that suck, about bad performances, about terrible dialogue. And dude, I'm on the record. You've seen, dude, go watch our videos, people. I'm on the record as having said, bring people that know how to write in genre, and you'll see an instant improvement in fan response. I don't
Yeah,
care that Leslie Headland's professional background was she was the chick that delivered all the other girls to Harvey Weinstein, allegedly, in my opinion. Okay, let me be careful.
allegedly.
Allegedly, in my opinion. Like
Allegedly.
she doesn't write genre. What does she know? You know what I mean? Oh, she has a Princess Leia tattoo. Big fucking deal. You know, I got people, I have friends that have like Red Sox tattoos. Are they batting anytime soon?
Are
No,
they the
thank
general
God.
manager saying who should be
I'm
who they should
saying,
trade
no,
for?
no, no, not even
I
close.
sit there
So
and
it doesn't
comment
matter.
all day
They're
on
full of shit.
Detroit sports. You think Brad Holmes is going to give me a call about giving me a job?
They might want to look into that though, because you guys have gagged in basketball for a hot minute now. I mean, that might not hurt. See, but that was a losing prospect for the franchise ahead of time. Star Wars is should be a cash machine. We didn't even have time to talk about that, but let's take a minute just to wrap on that. This show cost almost $200 million to make.
I don't see
200
where.
million. I mean, you got some okay CGI. You have no big names in it besides what's her face there, Darth Trinity,
Well, I
Master
mean,
Trinity, whatever.
technically,
And she's not that
the
much.
she's well. I mean, what she's doing like one more flashback scene. So I mean,
Yeah,
they filmed all
maybe.
of her
I
scenes
don't
in
know.
one day. So I mean, they only
Right.
paid her a day rate. She didn't have a
I'm just talking about based on the name, you know what I mean? Like whatever her
yeah
agent can get because she is Trinity. You know what I mean?
yeah
You got Squid Game guy.
yeah Squid Game
He
guy,
doesn't
and then you have Tomlin,
that
first of his name.
yeah, but dude, who cares? The half of this money never made it into the show, and that's fine. But they spent 200 million on this show. You could have made 16 Godzilla minus ones for that amount of money. That math checks out. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And here we are with this show that cost that amount of money that's enticed zero people to sign up for Disney Plus. The only people watching this shit are people that already had it. That's it. Nobody resubscribed to watch this. This
Yeah,
cost you money to produce and market. It
this
did not
could
shift the
actually
needle in revenue
lose
coming
you
in. Right, it
subscribers.
did. And it likely did. I mean, the internet's full of comments with people saying it, and I'm want to believe them. You
If I
know,
didn't have it with
there's
my
no
cell phone
reason
plan,
for
I
it.
wouldn't have it anymore.
Right. You know what I mean? My kid's just about outgrown Bluey. The minute he's outgrown Bluey all the way, I can drop this and then pick it up the 1 month that a show comes out that we want to review. I don't need to carry this garbage year round anymore. It sucks. This is terrible. It's hot squirrel shit laying on a pavement written by people that don't care. I heard the best reference I've heard from them. They're not posers. They're tourists. They're fandom tourists that they show up, they take their picture out in front of the X-wing. You know, they say may the force be with. Oh my God, it's baby Yoda, and then they go. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to conventions to meet people. They're not buying classic merch. They're not buying any of the really expensive shit like any of the $800 figurines. They're not going to convention. I mean, most of them aren't going to conventions overseas like Star Wars convention in Japan or anything like that. They're there because this is just the thing that other people talk about, but they don't care. They never care, you know? And that's why when you get into these arguments with people that say, you know, if Princess Leia came out today, these guys would be calling her woke. And I'm like, dude, we're the guys that didn't call her woke in 77. Like it's our generation of people that have always been down for good female characters. You
And
morons.
that's the other thing with these fan sites like on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. They are trying to promote and defend this show like it is the changing of everything that it's the next Godfather. It will change the
Right.
way you think about television, and it's
Yeah, nope.
not.
Nope. Nope. Not dude, not remotely. I find those pages hilarious because you drop a semi lukewarm take in there, and people are ready to brawl in defense of it because they're NPCs programmed to believe that the only trait worthy within themselves to discuss is the identity or their politics, and it's not. Like you can't have creative writing discussions with these people because they're incapable of seeing beyond the lens of their own narcissism, and B, like actually being invested in the story matter that's worth talking about. Like, for everybody that's loving on this show, let us know in the comments below if you're out there. What's your favorite episode? What line will you be quoting in 10 years to your friend? You know what I mean? When a revival comes around and this comes back out of the Disney vault, it's not going to happen, but imagine it does. Where are the watch parties? You know what I mean? Who's broadcasting this shit, in a bar, on the, like, the finale night of a season? Nowhere. Because the show is irrelevant.
Where's the drive-in or the movie theater that's trying to run every episode back to bat so you can watch the whole thing?
Nowhere. It's effing nowhere, dude. And it's earned every bit of it. Dude, I hope by the time I go to bed tonight, this shit's under 20%. If it hits the teens, it's over. It's done. There's no way out of that. So mark it down that the rating dropped this low. That way, when the weekend rolls around and it gets back up to 44% rotten, we'll know the fix is in. Like, I'm going to screen cap the 21% when we're done here, just for posterity. You know what I'm saying? Just so we can keep it. But I don't know. Do you got any closing words? Or are you ready to bounce up out of here? I'm good. I'm good with the Acolyte for this week. I'm all set. I said what I got to say.
I'm good. It's not good. I had wasted, was it 45 minutes of my life watching this, and my wife watched it. Flashbacks. Gotta love them. Gotta love flashbacks. No, but thank you for joining us on this journey as we review this show. Unfortunately, but we do it for you. We're doing this.
I'm having a blast, dude.
We're doing this out of love for you. We would take the bullet for you so you don't have to. You can come watch us. This ain't one of the ones where it's like, this is a spoiler-filled review. Stop it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back to the review. No. Just let us take the bullet for you and tell you what it's about, and then you won't have to go suffer through it.
We got you.